Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. This is episode 107. It's crazy whenever think of the numbers, and I want to start by just saying thank you. Super grateful for all the messages we get, and just the impact this podcast is having. Really, and it's that we still have the promo of Name Your Price going. We finished on December 31st. Just love the connections we've been having through the podcast, where people booking those readings. And I guess, as I mentioned at the beginning, just a reminder, it is that you can get a 30-minute reading or a coaching session from me or Stacey, or me and Stacey, and you get to name your price. So just send us a DM and we can send you the details. But yeah, if our voice resonates and something that you've been called to do, then reach out. I guess I should mention it's not an Akashic record reading. Akashic records is a longer process, so that's the whole different. That's on promotion too, for $149. But if you want to just experience what we do, then why don't you name your price and book a 30-minute reading? So as long as you book it by the 31st of December, it can be early January, but it needs to be booked by the end of December 31st. Obviously, this podcast wouldn't be where it is without my beautiful co-host. So I would love to introduce the beautiful, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, and published author, Stacey Brown. Stacey, you want to introduce yourself and also talk a little bit about the promo and how much it's helped and kind of the impact it's had on you.
Hi, friends. Good to be back. My name is Stacey. I am intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also an Akashic record reader. I'm a spiritual coach and mentor and a recently published author. I can't believe it, but my book came out almost a year ago, and it's made a big impact on my life, and people from around the world have been reading it or listening to it. It's available on Amazon and Audible, and it's called Journey to Soul Center: Discovering the Gift of Surrender. And I will say this promotion that we did has been interesting, right? Because I think people have a hard time wrapping their head around the fact that they get to decide the price that they're going to pay for a reading. And so we've had many messages where people will say, if I'm selected, I would love a reading. And we want you to know that you don't have to be selected. You simply have to decide what is in your budget for a reading and book the session. And it has been a real blessing to connect with so many people and to see the calendar filling up with sessions with people at varying price ranges who have decided to give themselves a gift at this time of year and do a little bit of introspection and take a journey with us, whether it's a reading or a coaching session. It's been powerful. I've really enjoyed the process, and I'm deeply grateful for the work that we do. And I know that there are a lot of people who want to utilize our services, and maybe you're in a tight spot, especially this time of year. But we wanted to make it something that was accommodating to anyone who wanted to embark on a journey with us. And so I will say it's had a huge impact on me. As I look forward to this week and, kind of looking at my calendar, I see all these different people, new people that I've been able to connect with. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that we get to do this work. I'm grateful that my journey has led me to a space where I get to dedicate my life to helping people in this way. And it kind of goes in conjunction with our topic today. I'm in a space of gratitude.
I love it. I love it. Hi, everybody. I'm Nims, also an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, and a spiritual coach and mentor. And the energy that I feel that we're all in right now is we are being pushed to expand, to integrate our lessons. And I should actually also mention, because we're recording this obviously before Christmas Day, but I realized this episode is coming out on Christmas Day. So just want to wish everybody a really happy festive period, Merry Christmas. Hopefully you can spend time with loved ones, and whatever you're doing, this episode is going to be focused around being grateful. But I wanted to just wish everybody a really Merry Christmas, sending you so much love during this festive period, and truly hope you can feel it. And Stace, before we jump into the topic, anything you want to say about Christmas?
Yeah, I want to acknowledge those who might find this season challenging. And I want to say, I know it can be a very isolating period for some of us. And I believe that we have it in our power to shift things into a different space. I know for me, Christmas this year looks different than it has in the last several years. And I've made a choice to embrace it in all of its uncomfortableness for me and to do the things that help me and that allow me to feel supported. And so I would say to you, don't isolate during this time, my friends. Try to reach out to those that you know love you and ask for the support where you need it. And sending you so much love during this holiday season.
Thank you, thank you, Stace. And so actually, I think that leads really nicely into this week's topic. And the topic is being grateful, but finding fulfillment in a season of waiting, pausing, and reflection. Everyone talks about, being grateful and spending time being grateful. And of course, we should do that. And, we would always recommend being intentional with the gratitude, i.e., it's easy to say I'm grateful for having a roof over my head, or, the love in my life, whatever that may look like. But when you're intentional, you pick moments, a conversation, something you experience, even listening to this podcast, when you pick experiences, your intention with it, what you're doing is you're really kind of creating a magic moment for yourself, and you're asking the universe for more of those intentional gratitude moments. But seasonally, it does feel, and it's like all the people I've been talking to recently, all our clients, it does feel like it's a season of waiting, pausing, and reflection. And it does feel like it's, for a lot of us, it's a season where we can feel something's changing around us. You can feel that, something's different is on its way, but it just feels like it's a season of waiting, pausing, and reflecting, because we've been through so much this year. There's so many karmic cycles we've all closed. So much has happened in a year for all of us, I believe. And it does feel like a time where really it's a good time to reflect. It's that sometimes, God's delays are not God's denials, and sometimes there's a divine timing to things. And doing the right things in the moment is really all we can do in this moment. Because I've talked about it before, how much control do we really have? I mean, if you think over the last few years with COVID and everything else, have we really had control of whatever's coming next in our life? And is it really a time where we trust the universe and really take a trustful in trusting whatever's coming next? And being grateful is a great start. And then doing the right things, self-care routine, looking after yourself, putting you first, and doing the work, and maybe being open to magic coming in whatever form it may come. A lot of the time it's our expectations of how things are coming and how things are going to look. It's our expectations of maybe how we receive messages, how we connect to our guides, that sometimes frustrates us. So what if we could truly be grateful, be in the moment, be intentional in this moment, do the right things, have a strong self-care routine, and really trust in whatever's coming next? And I can personally understand, sometimes it's difficult, right? We want to know what's coming next. I want to know what's coming next for me. I can feel there's a lot of change coming around me. It feels like I'm in a holding pattern, and I'm waiting for something to happen. But I know that I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And, I trust in whatever's coming next, that it's in for my highest. And that could be something that's challenging. And if it is challenging, then that's what my journey involves, and I've got to embrace it. I get I make it sound easy. And obviously for me personally, I want amazing things to happen to me all the time, but I'm also open to whatever the universe has in store for me. So But at the same time, I know that I've got to have a strong self-care routine as much as possible. So I am being conscious of what I do, focusing on the areas that I feel that I need to nurture me, and just being open to whatever the future holds. But Stacey, when I say to you, that we're in a season of waiting, pausing, and reflecting, um, this season where we kind of meant to be grateful and feel the love around us and the rest of it, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's interesting because by nature, I've always been a pretty anxious person, kind of anticipating what's going to happen next. How is it going to play out? What am I going to do? And for me, I feel like when things slow down, there's a reason for it. And I believe that there's almost like a call from the universe to pay attention during that time. And sometimes we can find it challenging to be present, right? Especially when we feel like we're in a holding pattern. And I think that culturally, we're a society that's very busy, and we almost take pride in being as busy as possible, right? Going from one thing to the next and the next, whether it's the kids, the spouse, the girlfriend or boyfriend, the family demands, the work demands, the social demands. And we fill our calendar with so many things. And there's like this vortex that happens between Christmas and New Year's. And we all kind of know this, right? It's like the week that doesn't really exist, right? It's like this bizarre space that we all go into. And for me, on a smaller scale than COVID, it reminds me of COVID time, where we were all isolated and home, and life stopped for a while. And it feels like that happened for a reason. That happened to kind of reset us. And it feels to me like right now, a lot of us feel like we're in a holding pattern, but maybe it's exactly where we need to be. Maybe we need to be in a space of reflection and evaluating where we are in our lives, right? And I mean, in all the ways. Like maybe there are those of us who have been really unhappy with our job for a while. And this gives us some time to think about the career path that we want to take, or the dreams that we have and the goals that we have. Maybe it's time to nurture relationships. Maybe it is a time to reevaluate your financial standing. I mean, there's so many different aspects of this. But I know for me, this season feels very uncomfortable in some ways, where I I haven't known this time of it just being me. I have a little girl who's 10, and she's with me half the time, and splitting time with her dad. And my other children are grown. Some live in a different place, and they all have their own lives. And I just became a grandmother, and my first granddaughter was born. And so my daughter's navigating the early stages of parenthood. And I find myself alone a lot. And it gives me a lot of time to be introspective and think about what I want for my life and what I'm creating for my life. And is it uncomfortable? Yes. But I have also found that it has led me on a journey of like learning more about myself, learning like what do I enjoy? What do I want to do with my time? And I know this is like, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of silly to bring up, but I'm just gonna say it. Like, I several years ago, I went through like a significant weight loss and fitness journey. And I was also in conjunction with that on a spiritual journey. And I found myself in this amazing space where I just felt so aligned in mind, body, and spirit. And all of that fell away when everything happened with my son. And I grossly neglected myself. And several months ago, I started to get really serious about fitness again because I knew that it gave me like a meditative space to go to. So it was more a mental thing for me than anything else. And I'm finding myself kind of in this weird situation where my husband and I used to do all of our working out together. So I constantly had a built in accountability partner. And in this season, I really wanted to get myself back in shape, Nims. Like I wanted to feel good, not necessarily about how I look, but how I feel. There's something that I feel when I work out and I take that time for myself. And so a couple months ago, I nervously walked into the gym, the local gym, and inquired about a membership. And I was so nervous about going into this new space. I really could have thrown up. I was so nervous. And I forced myself to go in there and I found out they had this great promotion and I signed up for the gym and I started going and I would only gravitate to the things that I knew. For example, I know the treadmill, right? So it was like, even though I have a treadmill at home, I would make myself go to the gym and I would get on the treadmill and I would do some basic workouts. And then I stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit more and I reached out to the personal trainer at the gym and they started showing me some things and I started to gain my confidence. And now I'm in a very different space going and doing my workouts. Now you're probably like, Stacey, what does this have to do with a season of being grateful and in this season of transition? But here's the thing that I'm saying, friends. I could have waited until I had an accountability partner. I could have waited until I felt comfortable and the stars were aligned and I felt right about going back to the gym. But I made a decision that I was going to make myself a priority. And even though this season is uncomfortable and I feel a bit isolated, I just made the decision that I wasn't going to wait. Like what am I ultimately waiting for? I am the creator of my destiny. I am the creator of what my life can look like. And so, my friends, if you're in a season where, you feel isolated, you feel alone, you're trying to like find the magic in the moments, what about creating them for yourself? What about saying, I'm not waiting on another person or a circumstance? I'm going to take action now. And I'll tell you what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I work in a career field that helps to motivate me to be the best version of myself. And I'm grateful that I was able to navigate through the uncomfortable and stop waiting for fill in the blank. Like what was I waiting for? I think the universe was waiting on me to make some moves. And it feels really good. So, though this season can feel isolating and alone, I'm creating a routine that works for me and embracing doing it by myself.
Love it, love it. And Stacey, you know what? I'm so proud of you. I see the effort that you put in, and then I guess I'm in a unique position. I also see and feel your energy after you do a workout and when you don't do a workout. And I think it's beautiful that you recognize how much of an impact it has on you. And we talk about this often. It's not like you love going to the gym or you love working out, but actually how it makes you feel and the result is kind of is really important. And it's a great message for our listeners. What are you waiting for? Is there one thing that you've been putting off that you kind of knowing there's a knowingness in you that you should do from a self-care perspective? I mean, shoulds are easy, right? So, what can you do today that's gonna improve your self-care, improve your energy, improve who you are? And what can you do for you? Stacey, that's a great example of you're doing something for you. It would have been quite easy for you to wait and just, you know what, I'm going to start it in January, as we always, people love their New Year's Eve, New Year's resolutions, right? But you kind of knew what works for you in terms of this season that we're in. And I guess I'd ask the listeners too. We do have an innate ability to really know what's best for us. It's just, are we trusting the messages that are coming through? So at this juncture, I mean, let's ask that. What are you waiting for? What can you do today? What can you do over this, festive period? As Stacey says, this, Christmas Day is probably busy for most people, but then there's this week in between Christmas and New Year's, which is kind of, everybody feels it differently, right? So, but what can you do in this week or even early January that really is for you? Um, in terms of this period, the season of waiting, pause, and reflection, for a while I've felt like I am in a holding pattern. I can feel something changing, energy going through rebirth. I keep thinking I'm in this holding pattern, kind of waiting for something. And I've come to the conclusion too that what am I waiting for? There's nothing to wait for. Me personally, I've gone through a lot of growth this year, and I've got to take time to embrace this new version of me too. So everything that we recommend for our listeners, we go through too. So, I've gone through that process of, I'm waiting for something. I can feel something big's coming. Yes, vibrationally, I feel that energy is changing for all of us, right? But I'm not waiting for anything anymore. I really want to embrace life. I want to have a strong self-care routine for me, and that's what I'm pushing for. So it is interesting, So sometimes, in all the readings we've had recently, it's like, I know that the new people we're meeting and stuff. There's a feeling that, well, hold on, because we're on this podcast and stuff, maybe we have it all together. I'm telling you, we don't. We're all work in progress, right? Um, what this podcast gives me and Stacey is a platform to share our knowledge, and maybe the things that we've been through can help you. But it's also on you, the listener, to take what resonates with you and integrate it and do something about it. And the stuff that doesn't resonate, it's okay, let it go. It's all good, right? And really be honest with yourself. How do you feel in this season? How do you feel in this season of waiting, pausing, and reflection, and just kind of this weird phase that you can feel a new season coming. Sure, humanly, it's a new calendar year, and everyone kind of always, when there's a new year, there's always a pressure of doing your New Year's resolutions and starting afresh. And I'm not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions, but it is a great opportunity to embrace the new you. So use the fact that it is a new calendar year coming. I talk about it. We talked about it in the Kashik download. To embrace this new version of you, take time to really get to know this version of you, and really ask what do you enjoy doing. I just think about some of the clients we've been talking to recently, and it's that we kind of go deep into you know how do you feel about going out your way for other people, and why do you do it, and do you really go out your way for yourself? Do you really allow other people to help you? It's a powerful question to really consider in this season. I was talking to Stacey about it the other day. It's that energetically, I both feel that we're in that vibration of kind of being the sort of energies, being there for everybody else, right? Being there for everybody else, and being that hero. But do we truly allow other people to help us? And I know that's the journey I've been going through. That I'm allowing people to help me, right? And I guess this is coming up for maybe it was just one listener. If you love to be there for other people, what if you truly allowed other people to be there for you? What would that really feel like? Do you ask for help? Do you ask for, do you reach out to people? Is it something that you go out your way to do? And it really is a sign of strength to ask for help. So I know I went off a little tangent, but again, I just, energetically, I really feel that we need to trust this period that we're in. But at the same time, we have a role to play to meet the universe halfway. And what does meeting the universe? What does meeting the universe halfway look like? That really is up to you in terms of what's your self-care routine. I know for me, it involves some kind of meditative practice, connecting with my guides, some sort of self-care in terms of, what do I enjoy doing? Also some sort of physical activity to get my body moving. But you have to decide as a listener, what is it that what's your self-care routine? How are you going to meet the universe halfway? Because it's easy to say, right? I mean, we have this debate with clients all the time in terms of, if we have free will and we have destiny, what's the difference, right? And you know, what's for you will never miss you, and all this type of stuff. And actually, I believe in a lot of that, but I still believe that you need to do the things to meet the universe halfway. That's where free will comes in, and you've got to do the things, because otherwise, if our destiny was always going to come through, then why do we do anything? Why don't we just wait? But actually, meeting our destiny, fulfilling our destiny, part of it is listening to our messages and trusting the intuitive message we're getting about what the things that we need to do to truly lift ourselves. And this really does feel a great time to truly embrace this period, embrace this new version of you. Be proud of everything you've been through this year and the fact that you got through it. Be proud of who you are. And then really ask yourself, well, hold on a second, what am I going to do for me? And truly embrace that and then see where that takes you. So Stacey, what are you going to do for you? I know that I love your self-care routine on, kind of the physical side, and you even got up early this morning to make sure you've got to work out this, you've got to some exercise in, and I think that's great. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, but it's not just that, right? We know that it's more than physical. Like for me, it's the mental part of it, right? That as I'm moving my body and I get into that rhythm, I can kind of be introspective and meditative. And so um, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, that this time of year can be depressing for some of us. We're inundated with just commercialism and stuff coming at us, and not everybody is in that same space, right? So the physical workout is part of it, but the mental part of it is another part. But I would say, even more than that, I'm really aware of who I surround myself with, and what environments I put myself in. You and I talked this weekend. I can't believe I'm being so open on this freaking podcast, but you and I talked this weekend, and I had like the option to go out with a friend, right? And we were talking about it, and I was saying to you, like, I'm not really sure what to do, because if I go out with this person, like, it usually leads to alcohol consumption. And, I was like, I just don't really know what to do. And I just kind of needed somebody to hash it out with. So I want to say, like, I believe part of us kind of being present and being in the moment, et cetera, is when we're not sure about something and whether it's for our highest good, talk it out with a friend. Because a lot of times when we go into our own space, into our own little bubble, we might not always see what someone else can see from a different vantage point. So that's the beauty of like this friendship, is that, friends, if you need a good friend, Namesh is a great friend. Okay. Like
Oh, thank you.
he will be a sounding board for you. All right. So I call him up and I'm like, I'm not really sure what to do. And we like talked it out. And I came to the conclusion that, though it seemed like a fun idea in the moment, that for me, I was probably better off to order in some food and watch my favorite TV show and just be in my own energy. And friends, listen, I have raised 4 children. I have had kids since I was 20 years old. This season that I'm in right now, where I only have my youngest half the time, is bizarre for me because in my entire adult life, I've always had little people to take care of full time. And so this learning to be on my own time is something that I'm not used to, right? It's something that's foreign to me and can feel a little bit uncomfortable. And sometimes when we're uncomfortable, we can avoid. And I feel that me trying to debate what I was going to do this weekend was partially me trying to avoid being on my own. And yet, when I was on my own, I loved it. And I was totally in the moment. And I woke up the next day feeling rested and rejuvenated because I had practiced some serious self care. And I think about how my life has always been governed by other people's needs. And in this season, I have the blessing of deciding what my needs are and how I'm going to meet them. And so it's way more than just going to the gym. It's way more than saying no to things that don't serve me. It's truly making myself a priority and not feeling guilty about it.
I love it. I love it. And it's interesting is that the programming element of, you know, oh my God, we should be out and be doing things. We should be doing whatever should, being busy at this time. And who cares, right? Who cares what the expectations of the world are from a programming perspective? And, this really is it really is a kind of a polarizing period, right? It's kind of a time where, you it's easy to compare yourself to others and see how much, perceptively how much love that's surrounding them, and kind of feel lonely in yourself. And I really do feel, and Stacey gave a great example. I really feel that we've been pushed to truly be comfortable in our own skin, and you know we should be okay with spending time with ourselves, right? We should be okay with um, being on our own and not feeling lonely. It's that spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself is really important. And I mean, I've gotten used to being on my own. I love my own company. I don't mean that I have some great friends too, but I've gotten used to that my own company. And I guess another message for listeners is to really ask, how do you feel about spending time on your own? Maybe a difficult thing to say, but I know that going back and think of the times when I didn't want to spend time on my own, it was because I wasn't dealing with the stuff I need to inside. So, if there is a part of you that feels that you always need to be busy, then again, I challenge you a little bit to really ask, well, why is that? If you have a life that's super busy and you're always on the go and you can't really make time for you, then I'll challenge you and say, well, what are you manifesting, right? And it's that, and I get it, right? If you have a busy life and maybe you got kids and all the rest of it, I'm not saying you can create lots of time for you, but what if you could create 10 minutes for yourself? What would you do? What would you do with that? If you could spend 10 minutes with just being you, being silent, going for a drive, sitting in silence, meditating, how would that feel? And if you had the option that Stacey just talked about, where you could spend an evening on your own or go out and meet a friend, how would you feel about, just having time for you? Watching your favorite thing on Netflix or whatever, and kind of watching whatever show that you want to, and nurturing you, and then making those choices that allowed Stacey to get up the next day feeling refreshed, relaxed, and ready to go. It really is interesting because I do feel, especially at this time, there is a push and expectation that we should be out and about, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. Who makes the rules? Who decides and it's that, um, again, I was thinking of kind of the conversation with another client recently, and, previously she would have kind of wanted to always be out, always be busy, kind of always be on the go, and, Friday night, oh my God, must be doing something and all the rest of it. But she's now at a phase where, you know what, it's okay. She's all right being on her own on Friday. And if somebody calls her and asks her, there isn't any negative energy. Whereas before, you'd be like, wait, hold on, you spent the evening on your own? Yeah, be proud. So, I mean, maybe there's a separate podcast topic here somewhere along the way, but it is important that you are comfortable in your own energy. And the other thing to consider when you're in your own energy, that is a really great time to truly trust you, listen to your messages, connect with your guides, feel the energy and the vibration around you. Because that's the other thing that I feel is happening right now is that our guides are really pushing us to receive more messages. There's more happening around us. And, if you think about the energy and the vibration, you know, COVID was a time where most of us were kind of forced to sit and isolate. I like to think of it as Mother Nature sending us to the naughty corner, right? Deal with your stuff. Um, and that was kind of forced, right? We're all in that situation. Right now, it does feel like we're all going through this massive change of truly getting to know this new version of us. The things that used to excite us don't excite us anymore. There is a difference, and even the people, and that's okay, right? It's that we have to challenge ourselves because as we raise our vibration, as we change, the people that we used to feel and the things we used to feel connected to 6 months, 9 months, 12 months ago may not feel the same. And again, challenge the listener to really, really ask you the question is, are you doing things because you've always done them? Or are you really challenging yourself and asking yourself, well, hold on, what's something different this part of me, this version of you wants to experience? And what can you embrace today? How does that feel to you, Stace?
It feels powerful. I think that this episode is going to give people some time to kind of dig deep and be introspective about where you are in your life right now, and also empowering you to recognize that you have the ability to shift things. You know, mindset is a huge part of this. If you decide that you want more, you can cultivate more. And more might be being in the present moment, being intentional, allowing yourself the space to accept what is instead of daydreaming about what you think it should have been like. Because I think that's where a lot of our hangups come from, right? Instead of accepting where we are, we get in the space of what should have been or what could have been. And there is huge freedom in embracing what is right now, in acceptance that this is where you're meant to be, whether that's a season alone, whether that's a season surrounded by people, whatever that is, and saying, okay, now what is my role in this? Like, how do I want to show up in this? I know for me right now, though my kids are adult kids, having a granddaughter come into the world has just been such a profound moment for me. I was actually in the room for the birth of this sweet little baby, and I was totally present in the moment. I was right there. I mean, like holding my daughter's leg while she was pushing and watching this baby come into the world. And being so present in that moment just made me realize how far I've come in the relationship with my children. And that's because I make the effort to be in their lives, right? They might not be under my roof and needing me all the time, but I want to be present for them. And my daughter inviting me into the room was a real testament to the work that we've done on our relationship, and that she needed my support. And I've been the first one on speed dial that she's calling, asking questions about breastfeeding and about sleep routines and pacifiers and all the different things. And I've just chosen to really embrace this season in the beautiful parts of it and the uncomfortable parts of it. I'm embracing all of it. I am not surrendering to sadness and depression because that's living in a season of regret and thinking that things should be different than what they are. And I'm really working on accepting what is right now, knowing that I'm growing more in the relationship with myself than I ever have before.
Love it. Love it. And, being present, I mean, how many of us go through magical situations and we're not totally present in that situation, and we kind of miss the beauty of it. And I'll share an example. You know, hopefully I don't come across as gloating, because that's not what it's meant to be. But I had the pleasure of meeting President Obama. He was president at the time. It was my niece had leukemia at the time. Bless her, she's doing really well now. But her make-a-wish was to meet the president, and he was a great guy, great energy, and all the rest of it. But I remember when I was in the Oval Office talking to him, there was a moment where I was thinking about, what are we going to do tomorrow? And there's me in this situation where I'm meeting one of the most powerful guys in the world, and I wasn't present. And it hit me. It did hit me. It made me think about it. And I've really worked on being present for the last few years and being present in the moment, and kind of, because people recognize when you're having a conversation or when you're being present, they recognize it from their heart. So being present is a really important skill. And how do you work on that skill? Again, it comes on to the same thing. It's that having that strong self-care routine, which includes all those elements we talked about, starts to really help you connect to who you are. Because it's like, so many people want to be fixed. They want to find a quick fix to what is happening. Tell me what I need to do and I'll be fixed. But it's like, we have to do the work, right? We have to go through and create a self-care routine to look after all four of our bodies. So the physical activity looks after your physical body. The being present, the meditation, all those type of things actually really affect all your bodies, right? It affects your physical, because it gives you that peace. It affects your mental, because again, it allows you to switch from I feel to from I think to I feel. Obviously, emotionally, it allows you to truly connect to who you are, and spiritually, it allows you to connect to the wider energy inside and outside of you. So, that self-care routine that we talk about pretty much every week, it is like your base chakra. It's such a foundation to whatever happens around us, inside us. So again, I would encourage everyone to really have that self-care routine and really challenge yourself. How present are you? Stacey just gave an example where she had the beautiful experience of being in the room when her daughter had the baby, and that's a magic moment she's never going to forget. It's always going to be, because again, even more important, because she was present. So how present are you? And before we close this episode out, I really want to, when I think about the things I'm grateful for, I do really appreciate this podcast. I'm super grateful. I was guided to start it by my guides, Cedric Jeffrey, who was one of my guides humanly, but she's no longer in this realm. This podcast is named after it, for Spiritual Journey. It's the same initials as hers, Cedric Jeffrey. And I know that I'm blessed. And so I would say, from the bottom of my heart, I'm grateful for every one of my listeners, everyone that listens to this podcast, everyone that messages us, everyone that connects in whatever way. My intention is always, anyone I connect with, leave them better than I found them. So if this podcast helps one person, I'm super grateful for it. I know I feel how blessed I am in this lifetime. And I just want to say thank you to the listener. You've made a difference to me. And just want to say thank you. Stace, I'd love for you to, kind of share anything you want to from a gratitude perspective. And, I always challenge and ask you, what's the journal prompts? Anything you want to share? And then also, what journal prompts are you thinking for this episode?
So I think a great place to start is to grab your journal and list 3 to 5 things that you're intentionally grateful for in this moment. So, we can all say we're thankful for our family, we're grateful for our home, but in this moment, what are you grateful for? Nims and I had an awesome client session this morning, big breakthroughs for our client. And one of the things that I'll be saying in my gratitude today is I'm grateful for a powerful session with our client and that we are a sounding board for him and that he has a safe space to process the things that are happening in his life. So, see, I get really in the moment. So, I would encourage you to start there. And then the other thing that I would encourage you to do is take a little bit of an inventory of your life right now. And are you present in the moment? Are you living a life where you're expecting things to be a certain way? And that's where the disappointment comes from. And then the final thing I would encourage you to do is ask yourself, what can I do today to fill my cup in this present moment? Like accepting the circumstances as they are, accepting life as it is. What can you do for yourself today to really be present and embrace the moment? And just journal about it and see what comes up.
Love it. Always powerful, powerful journal prompts. And it does make me remind me to just to mention that, the mentorship program that Stacey was just talking about and the client calls that we had today and just over the period, it's just, I feel so blessed with it. But if there's something in this episode that resonated with you in terms of, you can feel the change that's happening, you want to understand really why you're here, you want to understand your programming, you want to be able to release some of the things you've been holding on to, then reach out to us, book a free discovery call. We do have a 12-week mentorship program, which is changing lives. And, we'd love for you to reach out. We'd love to take you through it. The second thing, just as a reminder, mentioned at the beginning, we still have the Name Your Price promo where you get to name a price for a 30-minute reading or a coaching session with me, with Stacey, or with both of us. Just send us a DM. Let us know, what you want, whether it's me or Stacey or both of us. And we'll send you the links and you can schedule something. It finishes on December 31st. As long as you schedule by December 31st, we will honor it. It's our way of giving back. We feel so blessed with this podcast and all the messages we received. We just wanted to give something back. So reach out to us, and really sending you so much love during this festive period. And whatever you're doing, whatever you're going through, just realize that it is a journey that your soul has picked, and there is a reason for everything you're going through. And I guess sometimes it's difficult to see that, especially when you're in it. But hopefully there's some of the things that we've shared with you today in terms of the self-care routine, in terms of the journal prompts. You can actually accelerate the processes happening inside you and around you and meet the universe halfway. Stace, thank you for everything with this podcast. Thank you for always supporting me. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for, I'm not sure you were pimping me out as a friend there at some point, but thank you for, I appreciate you, that everything we do together is amazing. And I'm grateful for you too. So sending lots of love and light out to all our listeners. I'm going to hand it over to Stacey to close us out. Stacey, over to you.
Another great episode, friends. We love it when you reach out to us. We get emails and DMs all the time. We try to respond to everyone. So please reach out if this podcast is resonating with you, and we're here to support you on your journey. Happy holidays, friends.
And in love and light. Bye for now.